In this final video, we're going to cover some of the other reports and exports. So we've covered the locking, the reviewing, the exporting for a pay period, but there are a number of other reports that you can run in MyTimesheets. So the first one is the pending timesheet entries report. So as we said earlier, if an employee starts a timesheet and doesn't complete it, so for example, they are using it to start their day and then they get to the end of the day and finish the timesheet, and they don't do that, it is automatically made pending. Or if you're not sure about a particular transaction that an employee has entered, you can go and make it pending, or as they can as well if they have a question about it. So if I run this report now, we'll see that it's probably Bob Bobson who's not had a very good week. There we go. So Bob's got two transactions, one on the 21st, one on the 23rd. The one on the 21st has got an in but no out. In fact, so is the one on the 23rd. So Bob hasn't completed his timesheet on either of those days. Now, those days are pending. A pending day will not get exported to payroll if you are going to do a payroll export. So they need to be cleaned up, or they can be left pending if you don't want to pay the employee for those particular hours. So that's the pending timesheet entries report. The second one we have in our reports menu in this area is the daily totals. So this is a summary version of the report where you're looking at a particular date range. You can report on a particular department, particular cost center, particular job, a particular employee. You can include employees who are not marked for export, so for example your salaried employees, and you can also enter employees who don't have a department, which everyone should really have a department, but so I'm not going to tick that one at this stage. So if I do the detail version for now, in fact I'll just extend my dates a bit, and I run that in detail, what I will get now is a breakdown of each employee, what their pay would look like on a daily basis. So this is showing me the days of the week, the hours they've worked, and then the next employee, their hours, their leave, their allowances, etc. in here. So this is a report that you could check historically or at any particular time in the pay period. The second version of that is the summary version, and again, by expectation, you would think it's just basically a smaller version of the same report. So if I come back in here and do summary, then we'll see that we have the summary report, which is now just giving me the departmental summary. So this is not breaking it down by employee, this is breaking down what my departmental expectation is as far as hours worked, allowances, leave, etc. on a departmental basis. So it's a simplified version of the first report. We then go to the next of our reports, which will be the cost center. So if this is report won't even appear in the menu if you're not using the cost center option. If you are using the cost center option, then you can report on data entered against cost centers, again in detail or summary. So the detail will break it down by employee. So this is going to show me what the cost center is and who's worked in that cost center, what date they've worked, how many hours, how many units have been costed to that particular cost center. If you're also using the job codes, then the job code will appear against the cost center as well. So you can see that Bob Smith did some ordinary time in a particular cost center, in the sales cost center, and he was doing some work on the Smith job. And so did Mary. She was also working in the sales cost center, doing some work on the Smith job. So as you scroll down, you will see different entries depending on what the employees are being loading into the system. So in this case, we see Bridie has done some work on the plumbing, and somebody else has worked in the factory. So that's a cost center based report. Now, if you do the summary version of that, it's the same data, it just consolidates it so that you don't see all the employees broken out. It's just a total data set for each of those cost centers. So we recommend you have a play with that particular one if you are using the cost centers. Same with jobs. Jobs is exactly the same, except this time it does it the other way around. So in this case, it is grouping by the jobs that the employees have entered on their timesheets. So if we come down here, we can see that we've got someone who's worked in a job. So this is the Smith job, and this is who worked in it. So Bob worked in his job. So did Mary. She worked in the Smith job. So did Roberta. And then if we come down here, that's the total for the Smith job. And then we've got the plumbing job, and only Roberta worked in the plumbing job. And then you've got your total, your grand total here. So that's if you want to report on jobs in detail. And there's a summary version. If you don't care what day of the week it was and who it was that did it, you can run a report in summary form. The next of our reports is the employees report, and this is a really valuable report. This gives you pretty much everything you would want to know about an employee in a pay period or in a date range. So if you want to have a look and see what happened yesterday, then you can just have a look at yesterday. So if we do that, we'll just have a look at this week so far up till the 22nd. And again, detail and summary. So this will run an option where it shows me a breakdown of exactly what each employee has done. So if I come down here, we can see that where'd she go? Mary Jones has done some ordinary time against plumbing in the warehouse. She's also worked in sales doing the Smith job. These are the hours that she's done in the day, whereas Bridie Nathan has done all of her time in sales, doing some time on the plumbing job. So this again is an employee detail. It gives you a breakdown of their start and finish times, the hours they've worked, allowances, leave, everything that you would need to cross-check an employee for their week. And then I think we have one more report, which is the departmental report. So again, this is just another report of grouping employees in department order. So if we do that, now we're going to get a breakdown of what the hours entered by department and the units entered by department. So this is going to give you the information. If you just wanted to see a summary of total number of hours in the pay period or in the week or in the day and what departments have done what hours, obviously the other reports will break that out into detail if you want that. And then the final step in this particular menu we have here is the export option. So again, same data that you've got in the reports, except if you want to export a detail, for example, this would be the one where if you want to export out to your job costing system or your accounting system, you could export out the costing data. So if we take all the daily totals or a detailed timesheet, if I export out a detailed timesheet, then I can say, okay, I want this particular range, and if I export that, it will create a CSV file, which I can then open, and this gives me all of the information about everything that's been entered against an employee in that particular period. I'll just open that up in a second. So now I can see all of the information. I can see who they are, their name, their payroll code, the dates, the type of entry, what type of pay code it was, start and finish times, hours worked. There's every piece of information that the employee has entered in a timesheet in that period is going to be in this particular report. So it breaks it all out, including the notes. So if employees put in there that he needs some more widgets to complete the job, or he has meal money, he had a Big Mac, that sort of thing. All of the information that you could ever want will be in that particular report. And then once it's in a spreadsheet, then you can do what you like with the spreadsheet. So the other options you've got in here, again, if you wanted to export out all your costing data, I'll just quickly do this one. So you'll see that this is for all cost centers entered up till the 23rd. And I'm going to include the notes because I need to get all of my data out, including someone needs to see what the notes are from Bob about what he needed for his widgets. So if I open this one now, you'll see here that we've got who the employees are, what cost centers they worked on, the description of those cost centers, the hours they spent in the cost centers, the units, the dates they did it, and any notes about what they were doing on those particular cost centers. You have the same report basically if you ran the equivalent in the export for the jobs, then you get exactly that same format, except you're exporting all your job codes as opposed to your cost centers. And daily totals is just a summary of the data that's coming out. So that's an overview of the exports, and I think we've pretty much covered everything else. There will be a couple of more videos that we'll put up on some FAQs and some quick tips, but that should get you operational with your MyTimesheet system. Bear in mind that we've covered a lot of material in these videos, so you won't be using all of it necessarily. Some of you won't be using some of those features at all. So just take out the bits that you want, and bear in mind that each one of the videos will have text related to it as well as downloadable PDFs for you to actually have a look at. So I hope you enjoy My Timesheets and you get lots of value out of it.